2021, Harlequins lit up the Premiership with a multicoloured victory nobody could avoid enjoying. Ireland and France pulled off instantly iconic wins over the All Blacks, and Paul Willemse got a red card against Wales. But in amongst the injuries to Emily Scarrett and the absences of Semi Radradra, this was a year in which some rugby was played by some people. And so to celebrate the best of those people who weren't Semi Radradra and Emily Scarrett, and I'm so very sad about that, Peter Sefton Toy as well, man, miss Peter Sefton Toy. It's time for the Squidge Rugby Team of the Year. And today it's the brains of the operation, the best snappy short boys and doctor tactics of 2021. It's the Halfbacks of the Year. There was one very clear candidate for the number 9 shirt this year. Just one real standout who put himself ahead of the competition in the Six Nations at the start and just kept himself ahead ever since. I don't need to pretend any longer. We all know who it is. It's Ali Price. It's a tricky truth that most people have chosen to forget because it sounds weird coming off the tongue, but Ali Price was easily the best scrum half in this year's Six Nations. Whilst Antoine Dupont pulled a few moments of unreal, unbelievable magic, he spent most of the competition just kind of off. There was an element of him buying his own hype, of trying too hard, of this being the vital competition where he didn't hit his very high standards, something that's needed on every hero's journey. And whilst that was happening, Ali Price was playing the best rugby of his life. He's always been nippy, always sharp, and always worth watching, but not always intelligent or accurate. These days, oh yes he is. Price has kept his nippiness and become maybe the best box kicker in the world who doesn't dye his hair as well to go alongside it. His decision making is phenomenal. He's always had an excellent eye for the gap, but it's become a real head for space, constantly spotting spots in the opposition backfield, defensive line, wherever, that are light, be it utilised best through a kick, a pass or a dart. He's also absolutely brilliant defensively, so good at just shutting things down. It all culminated in Price being an outside bet for the Lions squad because people for some reason figured 2 charge downs by Maro Itoje meant he wasn't having a phenomenal game in Twickenham, and kept that assumption up all Six Nations instead of actually watching the guy playing incredibly well. But once he snuck in, he kept his form up and kept impressing, kicking for some reason, and we've all forgotten this, then squad captain Conor Murray out of the test team, winning 3 Lions test caps with starts in the first and third tests. Very deservingly so. And by this point, no one would argue. Antoine Dupont has made this team the last 2 years, and I bet he'll make it again. But 2021, the scrum half shirt belongs to Ali Price. Whilst we're doing molten hot takes, here's another. 2021's Beauden Barrett is a day and night and day, completely, unequivocally better player than he was at his back-to-back World Player of the Year pomp 4 and 5 years ago. Barrett was a revolution when he came of age in an All Black shirt, a 10 unlike anything we'd seen in some time, and he set the world alight. And then the game caught up. Suddenly Bodie became the norm. Every 10 needed a knife or a gap, and all players who played against him were extra alert about the kind of shit he could pull. But instead of fading away, Barrett rounded out his game. There's virtually nothing modern Beauden can't do, and it's perhaps best emphasised by how he wrestled the 10 shirt back off Richie Mo'unga once more this season. Whereas Mo'unga is an unbelievable force for the Crusaders, New Zealand's system continues to squander him, forcing him to play a breed of rugby that doesn't suit his strengths and is frankly way below what he can do, meaning we're yet to see the best of Mo'unga under Ian Foster, even once. However, Barrett has become such a complete player, he can adapt his game when it won't fit the mould and elevate the current tired game plan the Kiwis are persevering with into something effective, into something that can win them games. Almost all the great moments the All Blacks produced this year had Bodie at the heart of them, a player who rescues, works and elevates his team into something more every single match. Beyond Bodie and Ali, there's a few obvious others. Price's partner, Finn Russell, was superb. He's so much more than the madship mayhem machine he's billed as, controlling things superbly in Scotland's wins over England and particularly against France, as well as somehow managing to make the Lions' attack look competent in the third test. And last year's selections, Antoine Dupont and Romain Ntamack, were both undone by criteria. Dupont, as I mentioned, spent the Six Nations kind of buying his own hype and summer not playing before exploding into life in the autumn, and Ntamack was injured for most of the Six Nations, left at home in the summer and played centre for 2 games out of 3 in the autumn, meaning anybody putting him in their international team of the year is literally just doing so for his performance against New Zealand. And you know what? Valid. Others, I'm obligated to mention George Ford, who's been incredible for Leicester and extremely good for England before Eddie Jones got all caught up in the big hype train surrounding Marcus Smith, the most talked about 10 of 2021, and much of that is deserved. The lad has a level of talent that we're only just beginning to see unfurl itself onto the world. However, the other 10 who sparked conversation was the comeback of Australia's Quaid Cooper, who emerged in the wilderness a more mature 10 and did wonders for knitting the Wallabies together. Personally, I probably also spent as much time talking about Paulo Garbezi, the Italian youngster who has a higher ceiling than maybe any other 10 in the world his age. And frankly, I include Marcus Smith in that. This year he won Benetton the Rainbow Cup with a run of spellbinding superstar performances and established himself as maybe his nation's true star player. But most excitingly, it felt like we were only watching the warm-up of what's going to be an incredible international career. And there's no way also I could fail to mention Chile's Rodrigo Fernandez, an absolutely rapid all-action 10 who blistered Chile towards the best rugby the nation's ever played. Zoe Harrison also knows something about inspiring the best rugby the nation's ever played. She got mentioned on yesterday's Burst on Centres. She and Helena Rowlands deserve mention for their exploits at 10 as the Red Roses dominated. As does Frances Caroline Drouin, who played so well France finally seemed to have ended all the talk of playing Bourdon Saint-Just as a 9-10 axis once and for all, which, you know, frankly is a shame because I've got to now give France's pair of miracle nines their annual shout out. Once again, watching them play is one of the biggest joys in the game and I love seeing them play together as well. Sorry, shoot me. At scrum half as well, moving back, Aaron Smith took time out from binging Seinfeld to return to his best. Ruben de Haas shone for the USA at every opportunity. He's the kind of player who makes a team feel slightly more pointless when he's not there. James Gibson Park, quietly excellent, incredibly consistent, very, very good. Leanne Infante, or Riley, she was for the first half of the year, was a proper contender for this 15 after her tactical kicking game made the difference for England and Quins in their successful seasons. But speaking of England and Quins, their respective nines were sublime. We've got to talk about them. Ben Youngs is an easy player to make fun of, but this year played like a guy who deserves 100 plus caps, just brilliant for England. However, if I hadn't laid out my criteria right at the start and made it very clear that internationals are weighted greater than club matches, the number 9 in this team could well have been Danny Kerr. I'm not sure any scrum half played better this year than Mr. Harlequins himself, a scrum half who retains the quick tap fever he had as a youth, but has added such experience and intelligence to his game. Just absolutely brilliant throughout the whole year for Quins. But the other real runners-up have to be Australia's dynamic duo of scrum half stereotypes. Nippy, slippy, bright blonde child, Tate McDermott, and little piss boy himself, Nick White. And that rounds out the backline. We're now most of the way through that. Thank you for watching it. I hope you enjoyed it. There's more coming. We've got the other 2 videos on the backs, the back 3 in the centres already, and the front row will be tomorrow. That'll be coming tomorrow. I think you can tell slowly as these videos go on, you can tell the bits I've cut in as well there because I've less obviously got tonsillitis, which happens over the course of these videos. So yeah, thank you for watching these. I hope you enjoy them, and I hope you come back tomorrow to revel in the majesty of the loose head, the hooker and the tight head for this very team. I'll see you then. Bye.
And just on behalf of the team, we're super proud of you.